Yo, Giuliano Argenti and my anonymous friend.
What's up, guys?
Alright, UFC, fucking Edmonton.
Fight Night.
Fight Night, Moreno versus Albazi. This is my prediction video, which qualifies as content, by the way. There's a certain channel that should probably spend more time making content that isn't trash. Less time monitoring the subs of other channels.
Cheers about that, guy.
Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah.
Alright,
Jamey Lyn-Horth or Ivana Petrovic.
This is one of those fights where you'd think it was anybody's game. Ivana Petrovic is 7-1. Horth is 6-1. Petrovic is 5'8". Horth is 5'7". What I like about Petrovic is the 4-inch reach advantage, 70 inches versus 66. Jamey Lyn-Horth being a favorite, betting lines, like I say, are basically harmful to pay attention to. When it's when you're actually making your picks. Jamey Lyn-Horth lost a split decision in her last fight. Now, both of these girls have had only 2 UFC fights, and they're both 1-1 in the UFC. So Horth won her debut unanimous decision, over fucking Haley Cowan, who, if I'm not mistaken, has been cut. But Ivana Petrovic, right? Now the thing is, like, Petrovic, once again, don't pay attention to betting lines. Make your picks based on actual research. Okay, Petrovic lost her debut, unanimous decision, but in April on the Nicolau Perez card, she won her second fight by submission in the third round.
Yeah.
Third round.
So you're going with Petrovic.
So I'm gonna actually go with Petrovic. For whatever reason, whatever reason, Horth is fighting in her home country of Canada. She's no Jasmine, I don't give a fuck about, hometown advantage, I think Petrovic is got a reach advantage, and she's also a grappler. She has, I think she's gonna shoot takedowns, go for the throat. So yeah, I'm taking Petrovic.
What about Chad Anheliger or Cody Gibson?
So this, so at lower weight classes specifically, flyweight, bantamweight, up to featherweight, when you see size differences, okay, by the way, what I'm about to say, despite what I'm about to say, Kai Kara France, being the exception, okay, for what he just did to Steve Erceg, which was masterful. Usually you see, Merab O'Malley doesn't really count because of their different styles, but Cody Gibson is a lot bigger than Chad Anheliger, and Anheliger had an impressive fight in his last fight. I felt it was oddly scored a little bit, but Cody Gibson, he lost his debut, which was a tough, final, that they put on the, I believe the O'Malley Sterling card. He lost to Brad Katona, who is shorter than him, but is primarily a wrestler. Cody Gibson first of all, both these guys are 37 years old. Cody Gibson's 5'10" with a 71-inch reach, to Anheliger's 5'6", the 64.5-inch reach. And why that matters more than anything is Anheliger, before beating Grigoriou, did I say Basha? No, he beat Grigoriou, who, by the way, Grigoriou had all the makings of a kind of a prospect coming out of Serra Longo, and he wound up embarrassing himself, especially in his second fight. But anyway, Anheliger has that win, in his last fight. Before that, he lost to Jose Johnson, I believe. Yeah, that's a bad loss. As far as I'm concerned, he was submitted by Jose Johnson as well. He also lost to a Chinaman with one name. There's so many these days. Alatangoli. Yeah, Alatangoli, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I know him, but like, you know, I don't butcher the pronunciation, even though it's not like he deserves to have his name pronounced correctly. Although I guess he did beat Chad Anheliger. So Anheliger, and he came out hot in his first fight with a knockout, but you know that's coming off a split decision in Contender Series. Anheliger's hit or miss in general play against Cody Gibson, though. You know, Gibson being a grappler to the point where he got a first round submission over Brian Kelleher in his last fight. You know, the loss to Miles Johns. So Miles Johns is a fighter that I think has been underrated consistently. Do I think he's a prospect or a future contender? Not necessarily. Is he gonna break the top, 15 for sure?
Miles Johns is pretty good.
Miles Johns is definitely pretty good. Brad Katona, I mean, it was his time to lose, as I had said, to John Matsumoto. But, as a wrestler, I mean, he took, his fucking little fucking gerbil ass height was what, really, shooting takedowns on Cody Gibson, who towers over him by 5 inches, at bantamweight, that won him that fight. I think on the feet, Gibson's going to be able to use his reach to establish distance. If it goes to the ground, I also give Gibson the advantage based on size, based on his grappling ability, based on the fact that he's coming off a fucking submission. I'm gonna go with Cody Gibson.
What about Serhiy Sidey or Garrett Armfield?
So, I like Serhiy Sidey. I think he was robbed in the Ramon Tavares fight. The second one, he of course beat Ramon Tavares on the Contender Series, and then the rematch happened in both of their Octagon debuts. I think it was, once again, damage-based scoring. The real damage is not always what it appears. But regardless, Garrett Armfield. Garrett Armfield made me sick in his in his performance against Brady Highstand this summer again on the Perez Tyra card. Highstand, by the way, was to be Jake Hadley's original opponent. And he would have taken Jake Hadley out pretty easily. Garrett Armfield has, he does have the win over Brad Katona, which, you do have to rate that. The KO over, Kazama is, that dude just consistently got knocked out, and Grigoriou should have gotten knocked out, which, as I said before, Grigoriou went on to be an embarrassment. What I like, though, about Serhiy Sidey is, he is a striker almost entirely. What I like about him, regionally, before his Contender Series fight, which was, by the way, a first-round knockout against Ramon Tavares. In the rematch, Tavares won what I'll conservatively say was a controversial split decision. But, coming off of that, Serhiy Sidey, he really, he fights to knock out. He was in Battlefield Fight League for a long time. I believe he actually held the belt, and defended it. Oh, wow. Yeah, he did. I was going to say 3 times. No, he defended the belt in Battlefield Fight League 5 times, got his Contender Series debut, first round knockout, a la his performances in Battlefield Fight League. Ramon Tavares, had a game plan in that rematch, but, once again, I think Tavares beats Armfield as well. Garrett Armfield's not Ramon Tavares. He's going to strike also, and so it's basically striker on striker. Serhiy Sidey's the better striker. End of story. Serhiy Sidey is who I'm taking.
What about Romanov or Nascimento?
Oh my God, this fight. It's just like, I mean, fuck, man. I mean, and these guys are both ranked too. This isn't like, this isn't some Martin Goudet bullshit. These guys are in the rankings at, I believe, 13 and 15. Around
a couple of fatties.
Yeah, they certainly are. Nascimento has one of the worst physiques I've ever seen, because it's like you look at him and you're like, this guy must weigh in like 20 pounds or so under the limit. Nope, right at 265. And he's 6'2", so is Romanov. Just to give you an idea, my friend and I are both 6. I'm 6'2" and a half. He's 6'2" and about 3/4, right? So both of us are taller than two men who have 10 pounds on or 100 pounds on both of us. Or actually,
what are you talking about? I weigh like 2.
Yeah, my friend does way more. Actually, yeah, my friend's a beast. I mean, I am too if I kick you before you fucking get close to me. Fucking sidekick, taekwondo to the liver.
Yeah, these guys are fucking fat.
Yeah,
it's crazy how you can train martial arts and be so overweight. Like,
there's a lot of obesity among the heavyweights, like in the rankings as well. Obesity creeps in up to 7th or 8th.
The top half of the top 15 are like real good athletes. And
I mean, Derek. See, you got guys though like Derek Lewis and
he's kind of fat too.
I mean, he is, but he's
got some skill.
He's a cut above. I would say Biggie Boy Rosenstrike.
Rosenstrike is pretty good. Yeah, he's a good athlete. Hey, but what about Romanov or?
Yeah, I know. I'm getting there. So speaking of Derek Lewis, he did knock out Nascimento 3rd round of a 5.
Yeah, Nascimento was doing all right.
Nascimento, he was doing all right. He was trying to, I believe, if I remember correctly, that Nascimento did a lot of clinching and holding against the cage in that fight. And his strikes were ass, let's just be honest. Like, his striking, his power is virtually non-existent. Now, he was on a 3-fight win streak going into the Derek Lewis fight, but upon closer inspection, those wins were unanimous over Don'Tale Mayes, whose obesity knows no bounds. Before that, and then 2 split decision wins, where Ilir Latifi.
Samoan guy.
No, Latifi was Albanian, which which makes me happy that no Albanians.
He's only 5'10".
Jesus. I mean, well, fucking my boy Chris Barnett. Had he not ruined his fucking ankle jumping up and down like a fucking man-child.
I told you not to pick him.
You did. And, however, I stand by the fact that had he not done damage, like to his ankle, forcing it to try to support his weight, and not just once, just consistently, I feel he actually would have been able to win that fight, and I'm not joking at all.
Yeah.
Kennedy, whatever the fuck.
So anyway, who's gonna win though between Romanov and?
Yeah, this is why he's necessary.
Yeah.
Keep me on point. I'll digress.
He has a little bit of ADHD, but it's alright.
I mean, yeah,
it's okay,
ADHD, OCD. I got
Alright. So
so
this is a hard one to pick.
It is a hard one to pick. Romanov. Okay, so Romanov obviously. Look, you got submitted by Jailton Almeida. What are you gonna do? I mean,
Almeida's a beast.
Almeida is an absolute animal. And I'd like to see him rematch Curtis Blades actually. But before that, he had a unanimous decision win. Romanov got a unanimous decision win over whatever his name is, Blagoy Ivanov.
So it looks like Romanov loses to really good people are gonna beat him, like Volkov or Tybura.
So Volkov and Almeida both finished him. Now Tybura, who you'd think to be a cut above, won by majority decision, and that's actually
Tybura's like the best of the fat heavyweights.
Well, I mean, so you could say that, although when I picked Serhiy Spivak to beat him, noticing that
Spivak won that fight.
But Spivak between that,
Spivak's not that fat.
No, he used to be Spivak between the first and second fight again. He lost a lot of weight actually. He weighed in at 260 in their first fight, and then he was 241 in their second.
Yeah.
And So anyway, though, before that though, he submitted Chase Sherman, KO over Jared Vanderaa, which Vanderaa beat Justin Tava, but Vanderaa was more or less a can. the thing is that if you actually look at Romanov's UFC career, which only does date back to 2020.
DeLima's alright, right?
That's right. Marcus Rogerio de Lima. Correct me if I'm wrong. He has only one loss. Right? Oh no, he has more than one loss. Who am I thinking of? I don't know actually. No, I'm thinking of Waldo Cortez Acosta, who De Lima handed his first loss to.
Yeah, okay, so
but regardless, to submit Marcos Rogerio de Lima, I mean, Derek Lewis knocked him out with a flying knee, but he is a ranked opponent. He's ranked, I believe, 14th, and he killed Junior Tafa with leg kicks. So to be able to submit him in the first round, I mean, before he lost a majority decision to Tybura, he was on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, it sounds like
you're leaning towards Romanov.
I am leaning towards Romanov. It's not a lock, but I'm taking Romanov because I think that he has more finishing ability, and he's definitely got more power, striking wise.
He's a decent grappler though.
He's a very good grappler. He has several submissions in the UFC.
Not compared to
Nascimento,
Almeida, but he's what about
let me just make sure of one thing. Nascimento has he finished? Nascimento has one submission over Dante Almeida in his first fight, 2020. Yeah. I mean, Romanov consistently finishing people for the beginning of his UFC career. I think against Nascimento, he's got more power, better striking, better grappling.
Okay, what about
taking Romanov?
Yeah, what about Jack Shore or Youssef Zalal?
Youssef Zalal.
Right.
That's really all there is to it. He's back in the since he came back to the UFC after having been cut. He basically the Billy Quarantillo and Jono Aaron's fucking submission. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if you want, but I believe those are back-to-back performance bonus earning fights. Regardless, finish. Billy Quarantillo and Jono Aaron's are both impressive fighters. Jono Aaron's had a very good fight right after that, I believe, or maybe before. No, before. And he's a completely different fighter than he was in his first run in the UFC, where he had all decision wins, 3 decision wins, 3 decision losses, and a draw with the Mon Blackshear.
Yeah, I'd say this looks like one of the better fights on the prelims, right? Because Jack Shore's pretty good too.
Well, Jack Shore though is, Jack Shore.
I'm not saying he's gonna win. I'm just saying it's a good fight.
For sure. It's a good fight. Although I think Zalal will get a first or second round.
You think Zalal is a lock?
I think Zalal's a lock, which in my video after this, some last minute betting advice, round robins and all. Jack Shore, he got the doctor stoppage against Anderson Brito.
Yeah.
He got this one. Ricky Simone submitted him. That's 2022 Ricky Simone before he was broken by slowing him down. But his first 2 fights against
he's got a lot of wins in the UFC. Hey, what about
too many decisions?
Yeah.
For my liking. I think it's grappler on grappler. I think Zalal's the better grappler.
What about Charles Jourdain or Victor Henry?
Charles Jourdain or Victor Henry. So this fight actually took me some deliberation because Charles Jourdain, though MMA Guru picked Jourdain against my boy Gene Silva, and I got that win, and then Guru also had Dober over Gene Silva.
Yeah,
and got that one too. No Gene Silva, or rather Victor Henry's no Gene Silva. However, Victor Henry at 37 years old, 9 years older than Charles Jourdain, 5'7" to Jourdain's 5'9", only an inch loss.
Well, yeah, we like Victor Henry because he survived that brutal nut shot.
I forgot about that. Yeah, so fight before
in the background.
Coming off a split decision win, to Tony Gravely, he's fighting Javid Basharat, and he takes a kick, just in the
straight in the cup,
in the fucking just right in the vas deferens, if we're gonna be scientific, and and the fucking last night we were talking about that, like, 'cause I had forgotten about it.
Yeah.
And the doctor, whose bedside manner was, left a lot to be desired originally.
He was trying to tell me he didn't get hit in the nuts.
The look of pain, both pain and anguish, and just like the look of fear of like are my balls ever gonna be like okay on Victor Henry's face was palpable. Like you go ugh, and as soon as fucking so the doctor tries to tell him he didn't hit you in the balls. He's like it's all dick and balls, and collapsed onto his back. I forget if he was taken out with a stretcher, but he needed surgery after that. He was hospitalized, right? So now, if he
came back and he won his next fight.
Exactly. He came back, and not only did he win his next fight, he won his next fight by knockout in the third round.
So he's tough.
He's
tough.
At 37 years old against Ronnie Yahya, who, don't get me wrong, Ronnie Yahya is even a couple of years older, but, I mean...
No, he's 29.
No, Yahya is fucking...
Oh, Yahya. I thought you were talking about Jourdain.
No, Jourdain's 29. Yahya...
Oh, he's 40. Holy shit.
He's 40. He's 40, and he was coming off a knockout lost to Montel Jackson, but before that, he had 2 wins. I mean, that win is... because it's a finish... I rate that win for Victor Henry.
Yeah.
Now Jourdain, it's been a while since people looked at Jourdain really with reverence. I mean, the Ricardo Ramos submission. I mean, does that age well? I don't know. The Sean Woodson fight.
He clearly lost that.
Yeah, that was,
even though it was a split decision.
There was no and the wrong. He. How did that go? He heard his name, or he put his hands up.
They hold on there. I don't know why, but he thought that. But I think Bruce Buffer, announced the wrong name in that one.
Was it that? No, I thought that's what they said originally, and then I think he just heard.
Oh, the ref put the wrong hand.
Yeah, because they both have the same first name, so right? Or no, Sean Woodson. What the fuck am I talking about? Yeah, whatever.
I don't remember. Maybe that was a different fight.
No, it was that fight for sure. Yeah. Anyway, and then he got pieced up and knocked out by Gene Silva.
Yeah. So you're going with Henry, right?
I think I'm gonna go with Victor Henry. Am I comfortable? Like, am I comfortable with that pick? I'm comfortable as can be possible.
What about
despite the age difference? Yes, Victor Henry over Charles Jourdain.
What about Jasmine Jourdavius or Ariane Lipski?
Jasmine Jourdavius.
Yeah,
Jourdavius. She should be. They should call her Jasmine.
The girl she brutally beat.
Dude, it was basically sodomy.
What was her name?
Cachoeira.
She beat.
She spent 3. Oh, really? Yeah. That's true. Holy shit.
And Jourdavius destroyed that.
MMA math doesn't work, normally, but it's noteworthy. It's something to be noted that Jasmine's fight against Ariane de Silva, which is this Saturday. What Jasmine Jourdavius did to an opponent on the Strickland Duplessis card January of this year.
Priscilla.
Yes. So in case you guys don't remember,
who has a KO over Ariane Lipski in 2022.
Interesting. So only 2 years later, all the Canadian men on that card were fucking, getting just chinned or even just just slowly pieced up in their own country. The 2 Canadian women on that card were just
I think this girl's
absolutely dominating Brazilians.
I think this girl's actually Ukrainian.
Who? Jasmine? Yeah, but she's fighting out of Canada, bro.
Maybe I'm thinking of some.
No, dude, she's fucking Canadian, dude. And she beat Fatima Klein. Since that very, very dominant performance where she got the submission.
So this is a confident pick, right?
I'm very confident in this pick.
Okay.
Now, It
is still a female fight, so.
It is still a female fight. However, I don't think Jasmine being 35 to Ariane's 30 matters much. She has an inch on her, reach advantage. Nothing stats-wise. makes me worried.
Yeah, she's had some pretty vicious performances.
Let's see, Ariane Silva, she's coming off a loss to Korean Silva. Submitted Casey O'Neill, which I don't really think is fucking worth, I mean, it's a submission, but, Jasmine's last submission was, split decision, Mercigado, yeah. I'm going with Jasmine Jourdain.
What about Pedro Munhoz or Aiemann Zahabi?
This one,
Zahabi, I don't know how you
this
say
one is, this is like, this fight is actually probably going to be entertaining at the very least, because it's one of those who wants to keep their job fights.
Do you think Munhoz is on
the... Pedro
Munhoz just got put out of the... he's lost.
Dude, his last 5 fights, he's got a no contest, 3 losses, and a unanimous decision win over Chris Gutierrez, who revealed himself to not be...
he's also 38 years old.
Sorry, I'm getting Instagram messages from shout out to Musical MMA.
Okay,
trying to schedule something for tomorrow. I would say Pedro Munhoz 38, Zahabi is 36, and didn't he? Oh yeah, he had that. Okay, he's the one who beat Basharat.
Oh yeah. This is why you. This is why you said you're gonna. Pick
Zahabi. That was a big upset actually.
Because Basharat was undefeated.
Yeah. He handed Javid Basharat his first right.
For sure. That was definitely
handed Javid Basharat his first loss. In a fight that. One of those fights that slowly turned, it was Basharat won the first round clearly, if I remember correctly, and then, he's got knockout power. His fight before that, the first round knockout, minute 4 seconds. Draco Rodriguez he knocked out in the first round. So he beat Ricky Tercios, who despite Raul Rosas Jr. making him look like a complete fucking, just ragdoll. Tercios is a dangerous fighter. Enough of one that I went over him for Zahabi. I rate a lot higher. So I am going to take Zahabi over Pedro Munhoz. Pedro Munhoz, I think, his best days are very long behind him.
Okay, what about Mike Mallet or Trevin Giles?
Okay, so this fight, as much as, my Mike Mallett's reliability is very much in question after...
he fumbled it against Magny, but he was winning that fight.
He was first until he wasn't, and and the finish for Magny was but let's not forget submission on the Contender Series, and then a 3-fight finish streak in the octagon, starting with a KO over Mickey Gall, which is significant.
Don't forget that Mallet beat Giles in a grappling match.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah.
Was that
that was fairly recently. I forget when, but.
Yeah, that's okay. So and was it a submission or did it go to decision? Can you find that on Topology? That's actually helpful.
Unanimous 1 round.
Yeah, well, 1 round in a jiu-jitsu thing is long 10-minute round usually.
So he didn't finish him, but
no, but he won.
Yeah, I didn't see that obviously, but
yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot actually, because Giles. Giles.
He has a lot of losses, but they're all the good people.
Prates, Morales.
They're not that great, but
we don't know
how good Prates.
The thing is, in the Carlos Prates fight, Carlos Prates, that was his first. I had Carlos Prates in that fight, and he did win. But in the first round, Carlos, what I didn't know then, and we do know now about Carlos Prates, is he doesn't give a fuck what's going on, until he's going to figure out his KO shot. When he does, he'll take it. So he lost the first round to Giles just based on the fact that Giles landed more. Nothing particularly dangerous. Carlos Prates just appeared to be sluggish, and I would frustrate me. And then in the second round, he saw the opening for the left straight, finished him.
So we're going with Mallet.
I'm gonna go with Mallet because he just based on finishing ability, based on dangerousness, based on the fact that, like, you know, the fact that Neil Magny handed him his first UFC loss, and Giles is just, to rely on Trevin Giles, is a mistake. I'm sorry. So Mike Mallet for sure.
What about Marc-Andre Barriou or Dustin Stoltzfus?
So, Dustin Stoltzfus has had his ups and downs. The Paulo Soriano submission was Punuele Soriano. I'm sorry. That was not unnoteworthy. Bruno Ferreira and Ibus Magomedov, who shocked me last week with his win over Bruno Ferreira. Both of them share a first-round knockout over Dustin Stoltzfus. Mearshart submitting him is a bit telling.
Mearshart is really good at that, though. But
I mean, yeah, he is, but at the same time, look what Pfeiffer did to him. I mean,
Pfeiffer's on another level from these.
Well, yeah, no, for sure. But my point being that, like, Mearshart did just get that win over Edmund Shabazian.
Pfeiffer just destroyed Marc-Andre Barriou.
That's true too, and that's the thing about Marc-Andre Barriou. The Chris Curtis loss. I mean, they went toe to.
He was pretty close with Curtis.
Yeah, I mean, they decided to just turn that into a boxing match, though, which is the kind of the reason.
That's how Stoltz was usually.
I mean, Stoltz is a little bit more like, he can submit people. I mean, Prologue Soriano. The thing about Barriou, I mean, his last finish was over Julian Marquez. That was 2023. He beat Eric. I mean, a unanimous decision over Eric Anders. Split decision loss to Chris Curtis though, and the Joe Piper knockout. Those are two losses that are.
So Joe Piper, Chris Curtis, Anthony Hernandez
finished him. Those are losses I can live with. Chidi knocking him out in 16 seconds. Actually, I mean, Chidi's no joke. But who is okay? So he submitted Jordan Wright.
He lost to TKZ a long time ago too. So he's lost to good fighters.
Yeah, I mean, he lost a split decision to Jocko. He's been, I forget that Barriou's been in the UFC this long. I mean,
crafty vet.
No. He's a crafty vet until he comes up against fucking Joe Piper, Chris Curtis, anyone ranked. He's had his opportunities against ranked opponents multiple times.
So who you got in this one?
Oh, God. Okay, so, there's 74 inches and 6'1" for Barriou, 75 and 6 on the nose for Stoltzfus. Really very little to. I mean, I think that Barriou's he's gonna strike more often. I think he's gonna strike more often. I'm gonna say that Stoltzfus probably has more power, but if Barriou's careful, which after the Chris Curtis fight, we know that he can box reasonably well, at least, which means that, Stoltzfus may not land as much as, he normally would. What I'm worried about is a submission upset. Would that be an upset? It's fucking betting lines. Yeah, I mean, so Barriou's the slight favorite, but, like, I'm gonna take Barriou. I'm taking Barriou.
Okay.
Semi-reluctantly, but I'm gonna take Barriou.
What about Caio Machado or Brenson Ribeiro?
Okay, so this is a fucking. All right, so both these guys have had 2 UFC fights. Both of them have lost their first 2 fights. Brenson Ribeiro was knocked out cold in his first fight against what's his name, Zhang Mingyang.
That guy's a beast, though.
He is. Despite not having had a fight in the UFC after that, his regional shit is fire. Then he went on to lose. Ribeiro went on to lose a majority decision to Magomed Gadzhiyazulov.
So I think you gotta pick Ribeiro because this other guy is coming down from heavyweight, and he lost to Dontel Mays.
Yeah, but
he's probably not that
the thing
good.
is, he's coming down from heavyweight. If it would be a little bit easier to pick Ribeiro if Ribeiro was if this was a heavyweight fight and Ribeiro was coming up from light heavyweight.
Well, I just don't think a guy moving down from heavyweight is going to do well because
I disagree because he's got to make weight, right? And he weighed in at 251 pounds.
He's used to easier competition. Don't you think?
I think maybe he dropped that. I mean, he weighed in at 251. If he's really gonna make light heavyweight, dude, even if he misses weight by a couple of pounds.
Okay, so you're going with Machado?
Yeah, he went the distance against Mick Parkin, dude, like in his debut, and I mean, maybe he fucking figured out that maybe Kyle Machado has figured out because you don't see this.
I just don't trust these bad heavyweights, dude.
I mean, you don't, but like it's you don't see this very often. You don't see a guy who just
maybe he's more committed to the game.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be to lose 40, to weigh in.
Probably he's probably losing about 15 pounds. 10.
No, he weighed in at 251. He's got to make 206.
Yeah, but most light heavyweights are around 230, right?
Right, but I'm saying
so
Machado.
Pounds.
Yeah, I mean, but
the rest of it is just cutting.
Yeah,
but I guess the commitment to be willing to cut weight, yeah.
And also just this. I mean, he probably figured his cardio is gonna be better, speed's better. I mean, I'm gonna take Kyle Machado.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but maybe.
I mean,
what about Derek Lewis or Jonata Dennis?
I always hate to go against Derek Lewis when it's somebody either unranked or
like because he actually has personality or what?
No, because he surprised, against De Lima. He came out with a flying knee and knocked out De Lima.
Yeah, that was cool, huh?
Which is why I took Derek Lewis against Nascimento, and he didn't disappoint me.
All right,
I'll be honest, I had De Lima against him, and goddamn, did I regret that.
So you're going with Denise? He's undefeated?
Not because he's undefeated. I'm going with Jonata Denise. This actually deserves a minute, because I'm going with Jonata Denise because his first fight in the UFC against Austin Lane, second round knockout. What else is new? Who besides Robelis to Spain can't knock out Austin Lane? Fucking disgrace.
Rest in peace to Robelis to Spain, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. Makes me ashamed to fucking...
Yeah.
For all 12 years of Taekwondo, but anyway.
Okay.
And then, but no, anyway, so yeah, that knockout against Austin, he weighed in at the fucking heavyweight limit for that fight. Jonata Denise did. He lost weight in his last fight. How much weight? Just under 10 pounds. But going into the fight against Carl Williams, who, let's not forget, was able to hold down Justin Tafa, lay on top of him, and blah, blah, blah. He thought he was going to do the same thing against Denise. Denise, despite, showing up only 8 or 9 pounds lighter than his debut fight at heavyweight, was cut, way more cut than he was in his debut. His cardio was much better, and he stuffed takedowns from Carl Williams. And every shot he landed rocked Williams, and Williams was forced to fight him on the feet, which he had no business doing, and and finally, over halfway through the third round, when Williams did get him down, Denise was able to handle himself reasonably well, and I think if I'm not mistaken, that might have even still been at 30-27.
Yeah.
Let's see. One judge gave all 3 rounds to Denise. The other 2 gave the third round to Carl Williams because he finally got him down, ready to lay on him, but it was too late. Denise had pieced him up on the feet the whole time, and he was too sluggish and tired, and now Carl Williams is cut from the UFC. So I am gonna go with Jonata Denise. I mean, Derek Lewis. I mean, it makes me sad to pick against Derek Lewis. Not to preach his demise, but he has taken his piece of fame with the most knockouts in UFC history, I believe. He solidified that 2 fights back, and then in his last fight got a supplemental one. So, I mean, I think he's made his mark.
All right. What about Blanchfield or Namajunas?
This is a co-main event that, it's one of... Well, actually, I will say this.
Thankful they didn't make it the main event.
Yeah, they almost did. But regardless, I mean, Rose Namajunas can be boring as fuck, like against Carla Esparza, or she can be very exciting, like when she won the belt at strawweight with a first round knockout. So, that being said, Rose Namajunas has knockout power. In terms of height and reach, both fighters are an inch apart. Blanchfield is a grappler who, the Andrade submission was very, very masterful. She submitted Molly McCann before that, JJ Aldrich by submission before that. And Manon Fiorot has beaten both these fighters, but Fiorot, I think, is, next for the belt. Fiorot at flyweight is gargantuan, and she uses her size, very well. Anyway, Blanchfield versus Namajunas. So this is the thing, right? Like, if Blanchfield shoots takedown, if Blanchfield takes it to the ground, her grappling is all around just superior. Now Rose is gonna probably try to keep it on the feet, and I feel like Erin Blanchfield can be lured into, staying on the feet and losing. I say that, although, Fiorot kind of made it impossible to shoot takedowns and left her no choice. I think that Rose is probably, she can be hit or miss. Since moving up to flyweight, though, aside from the Fiorot loss, she's looked pretty decent. But she has not actually shown knockout power at flyweight, and though I do think she is the better striker of the two, I think Blanchfield, who is a flyweight, who does have, takedown ability and definitely the potential to submit her, might do just that. So I think, I'm going to take Erin Blanchfield. I think that, like, if she's smart and, has a good camp, which she is known to have, her game plan will be get it to the ground, go for a submission right away.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm taking Erin Blanchfield.
What about Brandon Moreno or Amir Albazi?
Main event. Okay. Brandon Moreno. Giving and receiving the flyweight belt for many years, 4 fights straight with Figueiredo. And finally, when Figueiredo was tired of the shit and moved up to bantamweight, already in the top 5, Moreno went on to actually he did have the knockout over Kai Kara-France. Different Kai Kara-France, obviously, than the one that just came back against Steve Erceg with a first round knockout, but he did manage that. And then he did defend it again against Figueiredo, doctor stoppage win. So he defended the belt twice successfully before Pantoja took it off of him by split decision, but
yeah.
I would not call that a robbery. And then he went on to lose a split decision to Royval, in a fight that was really, really, if not for that under the co-main event when Ortega fucking took out Yair, that
I just seem to think the only reason, or the main reason Royval won that fight is he has incredible cardio, and the fight was at 7,000 feet elevation.
That is true. That is true.
Royval's cardio is like the best.
But
some of the best.
Moreno, though, being the Mexican of the two, but also, Royval has very good cardio.
Yeah, that's his thing. He's got that dog in him. He doesn't give up. Yeah. But Albazi hasn't really been in too many big fights.
Albazi, so here's the thing about Amir Albazi. Now, also a victory over Kai Kara-France, not a finish, split decision.
Yeah.
I felt it was a robbery. Though, on that card, I had Albazi, making money is making money, but, a robbery is a robbery. You know? So, the knockout over Costa, I rate that a little bit. Submission of Francisco Figueiredo. Malcolm Gordon submission. Malcolm Gordon, that hasn't aged well.
None of these guys are...
you should...
particularly successful inside the UFC. That he's except for Kai Kara-France.
Yeah, his debut against it's like it's like, you know, if we're talking about like this is a potentially, you know, this is a potential fight for title contender, you know, so it's like you looking at the record, it's like if their first fight's against Malcolm Gordon, it better be a first round submission, you know.
Yeah.
Like unanimous to somebody I don't fucking remember. Nah, he got cut from the UFC. A man from Kazakhstan whose name need not be spoken, not for any reason other than he's been long since cut from the UFC.
Yeah, so
and it's hard to pronounce. Francisco Figueiredo, another first round submission. I do remember that fight. I just don't know what happened to this dude.
yeah.
He hasn't fought since then. That was 2022. He hasn't fought at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, Alessandro Costa. Yeah, he did just beat Kevin Borjas. I think I had him beating Borjas. Yeah, I had that whole card correctly, except for Vitor Petrino, who fed his neck to Anthony Smith. God bless Dominic Reyes and what he's gonna do to Anthony Smith, who got a fucking month of being able to talk about how there's levels to this. It's like there certainly are, bro, but you're not on them.
All right, so you're going Moreno.
I think I am going Moreno. It's more experience. He is bigger, and he's bigger in a way that matters. I mean, 2-inch reach advantage, 2-inch height advantage. His takedowns are powerful. Moreno's takedowns are very, very powerful. Now Albazi's fast, but Moreno's balance of grappling and striking, there's a reason that Moreno, he was champion on and off, and then, consistently for a bit.
Yeah.
Albazi, see, what makes me, hesitant to just go, just straight say Moreno, though, is that, Albazi finds submissions, he's very fast, and he's able to, all of a sudden he's on your back type of guy.
Yeah, he's a good grappler.
He was in, he only had, he had the 1 5-round fight, and that was
Moreno can go the distance with Pantoja. I don't think he's getting submitted by Albazi.
He's also knocked out Figueiredo. He's finished, although, you say that, but, Albazi, I don't think he's going to get finished by Albazi, and Albazi's only other 5-round fight was the Kai Kara-France split decision win, which, like I said, I felt was a robbery.
Albazi's been out a long time.
Yeah. He has been out a long time due to injury. That's not, I'm not going to call that inactivity. Although, who knows? Coming back against Moreno, I do think Albazi tends to hunt for finishes early, and when he didn't find one against Kai Kara-France, he was in a little bit of trouble. Taking into account Kai Kara-France being 5'4", though, Moreno, I think Moreno, though, is a better striker, and just the power of his takedowns, he gets a hold of Albazi. I don't think Albazi's going to be able to, skirmish out of it or reverse it or anything like that. It's possible, but, Moreno's only 30 years old, and he's had a huge amount of experience in the octagon. I think, after the Mexico fight, the split decision loss to Rival, he said he was taking time off and everything, and, he's back sooner than, he made it seem like he would be, but then again, so was Izzy and all that. I think Moreno's ready to fight. I think he's got this. It's in Canada, which is, it's a weird main event for the Canada card, but I guess, originally it was going to be Blanchfield versus Rose, which is 2 Americans, too. There's no...
they don't have a Canadian that can be in the main event.
They can hold the main event.
So
imagine if they put, they can't put
if Mallet would have beaten Magny, they could have put him, but...
That's true. That's true. And so this is
Yeah.
Mallet has to fight It's like, and it's like, not only do you have to fight Trevin Giles.
They're trying to give him something he can beat.
I mean, you know, you could look at it like that, but I think it's funnier to say it's like, you know, it's like, yeah, you're going to get a win, but, like, you have to share the octagon with Trevin Giles and be on the undercard.
Yeah.
Or low on the main card, whatever the fuck.
All right.
So, actually, no, it's the featured prelim, isn't it? No, it's the first fight on the main card.
Yeah,
so it's like you're on the main card, but you're the first. You're the opening fight, Mallet.
All right.
All right, so.
Good video.
Yeah. All right. Now, I will after this video, I will, as I have promised to do consistently, post you know, some last minute betting advice where, you know, I'll establish, you know, my locks, or, you know, as close to. I think actually on this card, upon, you know, when I first looked at this card, I was like, there's not a single fucking lock, but actually upon closer inspection, there's a decent number. There's enough where, you know, and you know, those of you who watched my you know, who watched the betting advice video from last weekend and my predictions, you know, for 308, if you followed that round robin strategy and that betting advice video, even with the oral buy loss, you still broke even, plus a little bit of money. Oral buy, you know, I don't give a fuck how swollen his eye was. He won that first round. I don't care what anyone says.
About that.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. He won the first round.
All right.
I mean, but anyway, yeah. So even with that oral buy loss, you still made money. Or yeah, you broke even plus money. So yeah, I'm gonna do that in a little bit. I gotta get back to musical MMA because he's been messaging me. Cool. All right, so UFC Fight Night, Moreno versus Albazi. It's actually, like, I mean, despite the appearance of some of these fights, like, honestly, like, you know, like, I mean, you had Pedro Munhoz fighting for his career.
It's not that bad.
I think he's gonna lose.
It's not that bad.
But yeah, like some of these fights are like, you know, on paper exactly. On paper they don't, you know, appear to be, but like, you know, I do want to see like Zalal fight Jack Straw.
Yeah.
Fucking Victor
good,
Henry.
Good video. Later, guys.
Yeah, take it easy.